must be Saturday because we're back.
We are back, yes, for another episode of Glasshouse Presents Throwing Stones. How you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing well. Today, instead of portfolio reviews at the end, let's talk about the Fantastic Four movie.
I think that's a great idea. We've both seen it, so
All right, so yeah, we talked about Superman a couple of weeks ago with Will Conrad on board because, well, he and I had worked on Superman at various points. But Fantastic Four, I've always wanted to, never gotten to work on it. Will has drawn FF at various points, but in any case, we'll delve into that today. I want to talk about all things Carlos. Carlos Granda is an artist that, if memory serves, I met at um, New York Comic Con some years ago. And the stuff was absolutely wonderful. A little raw in some places, could need to be finessed a little bit. But I saw potential in him that he should be working on major Marvel and DC books. And a lot of that is connecting up, and a little bit of it's finessing, but he has everything he needs to work for the big guys. And I thought he wasn't given enough attention in the business. So I thought, let's give him a little push today. Let's bring in Carlos and talk about him, his life, and his career.
all right, fantastic. Hello,
Hello.
Carlos.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. So I am so glad you could make time today to join us. And so I wanted to make our viewers familiar with who you are. Let's talk about what got you interested in comics in the first place. What brought you in your interest in and your experiences submitting portfolios and all that. Let's start with your beginnings.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. My experience with comedy, it might be a little different from what people expect because I live in Colombia, so there is no comic market here in Colombia. But we from time to time get some books from the States and maybe some books from Europe and Japan. But when I was growing up in the 80s, uh, there were very little comics that actually came here. I remember that the way I got into reading comics, there was a little, it was like a mix with a bookstore and a newsstand that you can get comics there. And it was very unique book because it had the thing that you can buy a book, a comic book, and then when you read it, you can return it. And for a small fee, you can get another one. So it was like a mix of buying and renting books. And I can get a lot of books there. I remember that I used to read a lot of uh, Scrooge McDuck and Disney books and maybe a little bit of DC comics. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I was a very sick boy. Yeah, I know. A nerd with asthma and glasses and everything. Yeah, I'm a cliche. So I spent a lot of my childhood being sick, reading books. And I don't know, there was a point when I just kind of figured it out. Someone has to do these books. Why can it be me? And that put me in the path of drawing and getting interested in comics, and that grew with me. But like I said, there was no comic industry here in Colombia, so I decided with a group of friends to create the comic book industry here in Colombia. So for the better part of 10 years, I wasn't a comic artist. I was more like a cultural promoter. I create fairs and expos around comics. I work with some book fairs here in Colombia, the two book fairs that exist. It is called the Fiesta Libre Medellin. It's like the big book fair in Medellin, the city I was from. So I created the National Comics Hall, and that started people in the path of making comics. I do some expo. I bring some guests. I remember that I got to hear Omar Francia, Renato Guedes, and some Mexican artists and people from Chile and from Argentina to talk about comics. But I wasn't able to actually publish it in Colombia because, like I told you, the industry is very, very small. And what you have to do is you have to do everything in the book. You have to write it, draw it, sell it. And I'm a little bit of an, I don't know, antisocial, so I don't like going to fairs. So the parts of actually going to fair and interacting with people, and I have a hearing problem, so actually selling my book is really hard because you don't hear anything in those big conventions. So I was more for focusing in the cultural part. But it turned out that I'm a very, 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 very Superman fan. And I was in a forum that was in 2005 when Superman Returns was coming out. And somehow the guy that ran the forum, it was like a friend of Brian Singer. So he got his hands on an early copy of the trailer, and he sent it to the owner of the forum. And he was very excited, but he was told he cannot share the trailer before time. But he asked, "Who can draw?" I can. So he gave me the copy of the trailer to me, and he asked me to draw the best scenes of the trailer to show to the people in a way to get the premiere without doing it, without breaking anything. But that led to another thing, and somehow I ended up invited to the premiere of Superman Returns in New York, and I decided, oh, that's a great opportunity. I'm gonna do everything I can to do it. Turns out I missed the premiere because they moved it one day, and my plane was I had very little money, so I just went in a day, and I missed the premiere. But standing in New York, I went to Midtown Comics, and I wanted to see Midtown Comics all my life because I know it's a very big store, and I wanted to do a tour around all the comic stores there in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that unlike what people used to sell us in movies and TV, comic fans are not nerds, are not awkward. It's anyone. I saw in my town comics. It was very funny because you always hear that the New York never sleeps. It's kind of a lie. New York stays late, very late, but doesn't get up early. So Midtown Comics open like at noon, and I went early to Midtown Comics, and it was closed. So I had to stay there waiting for them to open, and another people went by waiting for the store to open, and I saw everything. There was some schoolgirls, there was another guy, there was a nun waiting for the store to open, and I say, wow, movies are selling us a lie. Everyone read hot comics here in New York. Uh, why don't I try to break into comics here in the States? Maybe it doesn't work in Colombia, but maybe here
Mm-hmm.
it will work. And I got back to Colombia. But that time I was working on animation, so I had some money saved, and I quit my job and stay 1 year studying comics, the American style of comics, and that got me ready to go to New York Comic Con. I wasn't able to make it in 2007, but I went in 2008, and I showed my portfolio. Not everyone, to be honest, I only had in mind DC and Marvel. I brought a portfolio for them and a copy of extra copies just in case. But I wasn't thinking Image. I was thinking Marvel and DC. That's it. They are gonna hire me. No, no question about it. And obviously, it didn't happen. But I got a really nice experience because after I actually got an interview with an editor in Marvel and DC. You know how it is. You left your portfolio and they call you back the next day. And I got an interview with both companies, and yeah, they say nice things, but nothing else. And it was funny because working the conversation, I saw Eric Larson, and I said, I know Eric Larson. I maybe I can tell me something about my portfolio, and I showed him my portfolio, and he just went by. I know it's only because I know that he has a reputation like being a little bit grumpy,
Yeah.
but with me, yes, he was very, very stern, very serious, and he saw all my portfolio, and then he looked at me. Have you shown this to Marvel and DC? Yeah, I had. What did he tell you? Oh, they told me it was fine, it was great. Those mother, yeah, come here, let me tell you. And you got page by page, just screaming, no, you have to change this, is it bad? You improve this. And he stayed with me almost an hour, tell me everything about my portfolio. And I went back
Wow.
to Colombia. I studied more what he told me, and I got back in 2009, and that's where I got a job. I got a job with Senesco.
Oh,
Of
very
course.
cool.
See,
Very, very
that's one of the things that um, not enough artists get. If you say you're antisocial, um, when I have done so many conventions, when I had a booth, we would get so many people coming in for portfolio reviews, and it would be a long line because I'd be giving
Yeah,
15 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes an hour reviewing this stuff because there weren't many editors out there willing to do it. Uh, I I told the story I think on here before where I had a guy come to me um, who said, "Oh, so and so editor at DC loves my work." He said nothing but good things, and I said, "Well, did he give you a job?" Well, no. I said, "Well, congratulations, you just got the big DC brush off."
Yeah,
If they didn't spend a lot of time with you or give you a job, they weren't interested. He told me I was wrong, and then when I talked to the editor later at the bar at the hotel, he didn't even know who the guy was till I showed him the card. He said, "Oh, yeah, I don't want him to say anything bad about me, so I tell him this stuff is great, but I never give him work. He's not good enough." So
yeah.
I
That's the thing. I have noticed that many editors just do that because it is like a way to not angry the person that is showing the portfolio and don't get in trouble. And the one who told me, "Oh, dude, artist is great," the people just walk away very happy. Oh, he told me I'm great. Maybe he will call me. That's not gonna happen.
yeah. One of the things that I learned at some of these conventions, and it bothered me a lot. When I started Glasshouse representing artists, that was back before iPads, so I was taking these large portfolios that were 18 by 24, so you could put two full-size originals in each piece, carrying these heavy things around. And I went to Dark Horse. I stood in line, long line for portfolio reviews. We get up there, and I open this up, and this guy's eyes go wide. It's like he wasn't expecting this. These samples where Mike Diodato, Joe Bennett, guys who became absolute top people in the business. Some were these gorgeous painted things, and he's looking through, going, this is great. Oh, wow, this is terrific. You need to talk to Mike Richardson. You need to talk to Randy Stradley. And I said, I did. They told me to come and talk to you. Oh, well, I really can't hire anybody. He handed me a copy of their submission guidelines
Mm.
and sent me away. It's like all this great stuff. He wasn't there to hire people. He was there to not hire people.
Yeah,
Just look at portfolios, send everybody away because 99% of what you get is crap anyway. Uh, and he wasn't expecting a portfolio with 40 people that you could hire right now. And he didn't know what to do with it. So if you've run into editors who gave you the brush off, in some cases that's what happened. They're not in a position to hire. So I'm glad you got in somewhere. So what happened after Xenoscope?
well, actually, no. With Insco, also, I would like to say what happened with them because I think it's very interesting because I got hired in Sensco by Raven Gregory. He was the one who saw my portfolio. And he kind of told me another lesson, like Eric Larsen, who told me things that the other editors didn't tell me was wrong with my work. The second time I went to New York, I also was on a budget, so I got everything for the travel in a bag, just a backpack. And in there was my portfolio and my sample portfolios. So when I handed the copy to Raven, he saw it and it was on a Manila envelope and it was just messed up. It was crunkly. It was nasty because it was with all my clothes and everything. And it's just the same. He opened the envelope, he pulled the pages, saw a couple of pages, looked at me upside down, and he told me, "Okay, what I can see is good, but the presentation is crap. Go back tomorrow with better copies. That you work there's a better copies and a better presentation. When you give me a presentable portfolio, I will see it. Not this crap." And I had to go and find a place to print it and do a nice portfolio to send to him. And when he saw it, he gave me a chance. He told me to do some sample pages. That time was for a book for Charm, that adaptation of the TV series. I did 5 pages, and when I delivered the 5 pages, that was a week after the convention. He told me, "Okay, keep working on the book." So I did one book of charm. Then he put me on Green Fairy Tales, and after that, I jumped for a book that was the Jungle Book. It was written by Mark Miller, not Matt Millar, Mark Miller, and with him, I jumped back to Black Mass. He was doing another book with Black Mass. So my experience is yeah, like you say, it's very hard to get in, but once you get in, you have to cherish the people you know because those people are the ones that are gonna carry you from one company to another. And
Sure.
over the years, I have been meeting different editors and writers, and they present me to other people, and that's the way I have been doing it for the last now 15 years with people you know. And they like your work and they present you as part of the team when they present a book. They know you are the right person for the job, and they keep you.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I find that 99% of my work is from that I get is from word of mouth.
Yeah,
Um, it's from people you know. It's from people who know you can do the job, meet the deadline. Um, very, very rarely do I get work, or do most people get work from a cold call. Just sending stuff out randomly. So yeah, it's all about who you know and those relationships.
Yeah.
yeah, and something that I have seen David talk a lot, and he's spoken to me about it, and I have to admit, sometimes I don't do it as well. Is that once you get in touch with someone or you need someone, you have to keep in touch, even if you don't try to get work. Be a little bit interested on their life, on what they're doing. Don't see it just as a paycheck or someone who's gonna give you job. No, be invested in them and develop a real relationship. And like I told you, keep in touch because many artists just kind of settle down that okay, such and such editor and writer had my name. I'm gonna wait for them to call me. No, you
Oh
have to
God.
reach out.
Yeah, that is the worst way to do it. To my mind, because I deal with literally hundreds of artists all over the world. The ones that stay in touch with me are the ones that eventually get a lot of work. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away, but what happens is I get too many cases where, and Carlos, you know this. I connect with an artist. I say, I like your stuff. I want to work with you, and then months go by and I don't hear from the artist. If I don't hear from the artist, it's because I assume they're too busy working on other things and they don't need any feedback from me and don't need Glasshouse to get them any jobs.
Yeah.
So, but there are people that just check in with me every week or every 2 weeks. Hey, just checking in. Anything coming up? And the wonderful thing about that is sometimes it's, oh, I'm glad you came on. What's your schedule like the next month? And they'll tell me it's like, okay, I have a cover for this client, or so and so just approached me about a one-shot 20-page story, or oh, this client just asked me if I have somebody who's good at superheroes who can do 90 pages over the next 5 months. Uh, do you think you could take this? Here, let me send you the script that they sent. So there are all these opportunities that somebody who doesn't stay in touch might miss because I think they're too busy.
Yeah, that's right.
And, and some of it is also out of sight, out of mind. If because I have so many guys, the ones that communicate the most are at the top of my mind, as they say. So they are the first people I think to offer for a job.
No,
Um,
I guess.
yeah, so it helps to stay in touch. Now, Chris is a case in point. He was with me for some years and not really getting work with me. and then I forget what it was, Chris. There was something that happened, and we started communicating more. And then suddenly, you're running my podcast and or running a whole new division for Glasshouse.
Well, I think it started with the unfortunate passing of your video guy,
Ah, yes, Jason Perkins.
Jason Perkins. Yes, and you had needed. I had decided I was going to get into doing more video editing, video creation, stuff like that. And I approached David with it, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, I do. I need something for this, and that. And we're doing Kickstarters, and I threw some stuff together, and we worked with it. We worked on it together, and here we are now.
So now we're in communication many times every day, and doing a lot of stuff together. So the fact that he didn't get a lot of work from me or much work at all for several years didn't mean he dropped from sight. He stayed in communication, and then when the opportunity was right, more and more work from us filled your schedule.
Right?
Uh,
Yeah.
so,
I first sent my portfolio to David in, I think it was 2007, maybe, or something like that. And yeah, so all this time we've been in
it's been
communication.
a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but
I don't know. There is one thing that I think that maybe it's because, like I say, I'm from outside of the states that I have a little bit of a different mentality. But once, uh, things that have worked for me. One is you cannot be shy. I say that I'm antisocial, but I'm not shy. I'm just introvert. But you have to reach out to people and you have to ask. Just yesterday, I'm trying to get into crowdfunding campaigns, and I saw a campaign that just popping everywhere, and I thought that's very interesting. I wonder who's managing their campaign. And my colorist told me, "Oh, if only we could find out who is it. Why don't we ask?" So I contact the writer of the book, and he he answers back. You have to, if you have a question, don't do it. The worst thing that can happen is they tell you no or they don't answer. But
of
if you
course,
just ask, that's gonna work. Maybe it's because also since I work with a lot of artists in Colombia, promoting comics in Colombia, that's my mentality. You have to promote yourself and promote the art in a way. Not only being in a selfish way. I contacted another writer that has a YouTube channel, and I like his books, and I contacted him to see maybe he has some book for me, and he had me my page rate, and it turns out the page rate I gave him was above his budget, but I told him I didn't tell him okay, bye. Okay, you can work with me, but I know other artists in Colombia. Maybe I can present you a couple of artists that I know his pay rate is lower than me, and I present him that artist. He started working with them, and he just called me last week. Okay, now I have a book for you. If you don't, you show some interest, and it's not like I told you. It's not just a paycheck with a face. It's a person that has project that also
yeah,
like comics. Then you can talk to him, ask him how is his book doing. I know a little bit about them. And the other thing is for me work. I don't know if everyone can do it. I like to meet people in person, like David. I remember that I pestered him to meet me in New York. We almost didn't make it. I was very, very busy, but we finally do it. And I think meeting people in person really helps a lot. And every time I go to New York, I try to go once a year to the convention. I try to meet with every one of the editors and writers that I usually work just to keep in touch. And they will see my face and will remember me. And now that I work on the convention floor, I see just some editors. Maybe I haven't working with them in 5 years. But they say, "Oh, Granda, hey, what's up?" They call me back. So that's the thing. You have to make a network of people that is more than just that's a writer. Oh, the people that you get to know.
yeah, of course, of course. Let's bring in some of your work here, and then
And
you can.
I just want to interject here that David in person and David in emails and messenger are two different people. Um, David in messenger and emails is very intimidating. And
Am I? I didn't know this.
you are very intimidating because you've been doing this for so long that you're very blunt, and you're just like, this is what's wrong, this is what you need fix, and in person you're a very charming, genial, person, so very nice. And so yeah, it
I
helps
owe
to
you
meet
$5
people.
when this is over.
It helps to meet people face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My wife tells me I've gotten more mellow as the years have gone on reviewing portfolios because I didn't want to focus on the person. I wanted to focus on the lines on pieces of paper. I thought that was more important because I never wanted anybody to come back. Well, he doesn't like me. Well, I don't know you. I'm looking at just the drawings here and responding to that. But as time went on, I realized that because most artists live these insular lives and they have, their mom, their dad, their best friend, whatever, that, as they say, I can't draw a stick figure, telling them how great they are, that when they come across somebody who's giving them legitimate reviews of the work and what to improve, there's a shock factor there. That's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm not used to being talked to that way, and I was being so straightforward about that. They were saying they wouldn't say David was honest. He's brutally honest. It's like, why is the word brutal being thrown in there? I'm not being mean. I'm just telling you the truth. So they weren't used to hearing the truth about their work. So to them, it was brutal.
That's the thing, because many artists just want to hear, "Oh, you're great, you're hired." Not, "You have this problem, you can fix this." That's the thing.
Yeah,
As
and
artists, we have a big ego.
it so rarely happens. And here's the terrible thing. Editors won't tell you this. If there's an artist they've never heard of that comes in and their stuff is great and you hire them right away, there's usually a problem. There's a reason that great artist is somebody you've never heard of. They are impossible with deadlines. They are a real terrible person to try to work with. There's any of a number of things. And I've discovered this problem over and over and over. There was I may tell this in more detail on another podcast, but there was an artist that when I was working with a big project for an independent some years ago, um, reached out to the guy. He wasn't getting a lot of work from anybody, but he was fantastic. And I said, would you be interested in working on this? He said, yes, I would. What's your schedule? Well, I could start it in 30 days. Okay, I'll take the time to send you all the references, send you the updated script. I'll schedule it out. What kind of schedule do you need? He said, well, I need 60 days an issue. So I gave it to him. He wasn't sending any layouts, wasn't sending any pencils. And he kept telling me, just wait, just wait, just wait. The entire deadline went by. He turned in nothing. And I said, where are the pages? You told me to wait. He said, I can't believe you waited. You think I would just do work for somebody who's not Marvel or DC? Fuck off.
Oh, wow.
And then I talked to some guys at Marvel and DC, and they said his attitude here isn't much better. It's like he turns in pages eventually, but doesn't want to make changes, doesn't listen. If we tell him not to do something, he'll make it a point to do it twice as much. So he was a fantastic artist, as you could see from the published stuff, but the behind the scenes stuff was just too much, too awful.
Yeah, no. I
So
know a personal story that is very, I don't know, depressing to me. To be honest, artists have very bad reputation, and we deserve that bad reputation. I have a friend that is has worked for Marvel, DC, and Dark Horse. He's a great artist. Obviously, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was going for in a bad time of his life that he wasn't getting any work. And another friend of mine that is an editor from a small company, small press company, he gave him a work for to work in a couple of books. In the meantime, while he get back into in his feet and maybe get some work from the big companies. And since it was a small company, he took almost a year to finish the book because it was not a priority.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, I have other stories I could tell about that, but I'll wait till a later date. I want to focus on your stuff right now. So, talk about this project.
That's a book I did for. It was a crowdfunding campaign. It was a collection of horror stories centered on cinema, the experience of going to the cinema. The writer is Matt Miller, the
Hmm.
one I did Pirouette and The Jungle Book with. And it was a very fun story because I didn't include one page because of the format. It will be very odd, but I really like it because one of the panels of the comic was to draw a whole crowd in the cinema. So it was very fun to just do all the details I like to put because I really like to put details and Easter eggs on the pages. So at that page, I put everything I could think of. I put The Simpsons. I put characters from movies. I put silly situations. Yeah, it was very fun.
Very cool. So, you are doing pencils and inks on paper here?
Yeah, I started doing inks, going straight from the layouts to inks
Yeah.
because for the longest time, since I was working with Zenescope mostly, uh, like you always see, they always tell you how the comics work that you do with layouts, then pencils, someone will come
Yeah.
and ink your stuff and then put color. Even though I think my pencils are very clean, for some reason, Zenescope didn't hire an inker for me, so all my pages went from pencil to color, and I didn't like the look. I think it would look a little bit muddy, so I decided to do my own inks, so
Yeah.
the final project will look cleaner.
Yeah. There's the problem with working with a smaller company is they really don't have enough money per page to split up between a penciler and an inker.
And
So,
now that everything is doing digitally, I think the inkers are just a dying breed, to be honest.
yeah. The, I'm fortunate that we still have guys like Joe Bennett that are doing full tight pencils, and then they are emailed over to an inker who prints them out on blue line and then hand inks from there. So we're trying to still keep that alive as much as possible. Um, okay, this project was just
It
the
was
same.
for an European company. It was called Velo. Is trying to modernize some African stories.
Yes.
It was also a very cool project, but I think it hasn't come out yet.
Okay.
That's a personal story of mine, Cruzada. I also self-publish some books here in Colombia, so one of
Uh,
that's one of my books here.
got it.
I love fantasy stuff, so this is
Yeah,
fantastic.
What do we have here?
this is a project that is not published. I think it got cancelled. To be honest, it was written by Grant Morrison. I did two books. It was gonna be a four-book series, but in the end, the script stopped coming, so the project was halted, and I guess now it's canceled. This
All
is
right.
Aragna.
Yes, I know you Kickstarter just ran with your work on
Yeah,
this.
this is very fun because there's another thing that for me was a very good experience working with Aragna. Funny enough, for some reason, in 2019, the comic world really lessened a lot. I was working maybe doing one book a year. By 2019, for some reason, it stopped coming. And in 2020, in the pandemic, I was ready to do something else. I was doing carpentry or something else.
Mm,
And the writer from Aragna contacted me, said his artist dropped out, disappeared, and told me if I can continue the book. And I decided to do the book like my last book, do it the way I like it, doing everything everyone, every editor told me not to do. That will make the book uglier. And I have tons of working on Alagna and did really good in the Kickstarter. And for some reason, it really drew more writers and more attention to my work and helped me getting back into working full time.
Well, good. These are very cool.
Yes, fantastic stuff.
For me, it's a really fun book. This is for Black Mass. I have worked with Mati Solo in a couple of books. This is the continuation from for Calexit. The book debuted in San Diego Comic Con this year. It's gonna be a 5 issue miniseries. I'm working on the third book right now.
Uh, this Universal Ball is 30 minutes from my house, by the way.
Really?
Geek Girl. Okay.
That's another book that I really like because it's a book from the writer is from England. He
Mm-hmm.
managed the mortgage on a bank, but comics are his hobby, and has been writing Geek Gear for the last 10 years, and I have been working with him the last 10 years. We are now on volume 4, I think. I have done something like 25 issues of Geek Gear,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's very very fun. It's a girl that wins some glasses in a poker game, and the glasses give her powers. It's a very fun book. It's silly but very fun.
Very
It
cool.
looks like a lot of fun.
This was for a project here in Colombia, um, for a charity to do some illustrations. No, for a collection of books
Mm.
that was gonna do slashes from the 90s and the 80s. And since I like to add a lot of details, I decided to do all the horror film patterns that I could fit in a page.
That is very cool.
That is
Terrific.
Pirouette. There's another book of Mac Miller. Hopefully, we are gonna do the second book this year, maybe next year. The book came out, the first one, the first volume came in 2014, and it got a really good reception. That's one of my stories. It's called Scarlet. Hopefully, I will work on it next year.
Ah, okay.
That's one of the one story that I want to bring to crowdfunding campaigns and sell it in the States.
Yeah.
That's also one of the projects called Moonlight Galactica. It's a mix between Starship Troopers meets Star Trek.
Got it.
Very cool.
That's for a small press company. It's called Unstoppable Comics. That's I think that's Vicky Stick. I can't remember the name of the character, but I have been working with. I met in New York also. He's a very great guy. It's called JT Rosario. His company Unstoppable Comics. Every year goes to New York in the small press section. If you can visit it, he's a great guy. He's larger than life. That's also for him.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
That's also for Unstoppable Comics for Jay.
Ah,
He
okay.
has a series book. He has a very fun page. We don't know one of his book that is called "The Chill of the Interceptor," and his page. If you have heard of the sword of Excalibur, well, there is also a shield that comes with the sword, and the story of the Chill of the Interceptor is the Chill of Excalibur, and it's a mix of Captain America with magic.
Ah.
Oh, very
Uh,
cool.
a
Yeah,
question here is this type pencils
yeah,
or
those are my
okay?
pencils.
Um, could you send to me a few of your pages that are like this? You said you didn't like the way they looked when they went from pencil to color.
Yeah,
Uh, these look very much like what my wife does when she's drawing Bonsai Girl or Exposure or some other things, and we take her pages, we finesse them in Photoshop, and they look inked by the time we send them to the colorist. Because I'm looking at your rendering out of the black areas and your rendering of hair, and this should be perfect for print. And I honestly like this even better than I like your inked work.
Yeah.
So I would like to, if it's all right with you, experiment with a few of your penciled pages to see how we could make them look.
Yeah, I can send you some pages,
Yes,
no problem.
but please do, because um, uh, in my opinion, um, if I were hiring you to work on a book for us, and I came across this in your portfolio, I would be saying this is better than your inked work. Just give me this, and we'll finesse it. So I want to see, because this is absolutely wonderful.
Okay. That was also for Super Comics.
Okay.
Is uh, Van Helsing meets Frankenstein. She's how do you say it? Yeah, she was brought back to life like Frankenstein, but she hunts monsters.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, very good. Your facial expressions are just fantastic, Carlos. I have to say, I love them.
That's that's someone that just contacted me over Facebook that saw one of the pages of Aragna and asked me to do a cover. Well, you know that.
I remember this test plot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was just pages I did sample for DC and for Marvel.
Yeah. See, I remember seeing you post some of this stuff. Um, Maybe it was on social media, maybe it was something that you had sent me, and it was Marvel and DC stuff. And I thought, oh, great, you're getting Marvel and DC work, So I wasn't thinking more of it, and I thought your schedule was full, so I wasn't um, trying to chase after jobs for you. And then when you told me, oh no, I'm not doing anything for them, that's just samples. It's like, wait a minute, he's good enough. Why isn't he doing work for them? Uh, so I need to make that happen.
Your guess is as good as mine. That why I haven't been. I would love to do a Marvel or a DC book.
Yeah. Well, off here, I will talk to you about that a little more. Um, but no, some of these are just lovely. Yeah. Yeah. Some mighty good work here. Hey, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, really nice.
Yes, nice work.
Yeah, I can't stop chasing Marvel and DC because in 2019 I got the same comment from an artist on DC and an editor from DC that told me, "Well, you are over 40 years now. You are too old to start working in DC or Marvel."
Oh, that. See, I think that's a bullshit answer, because it doesn't matter if you're 16 or 70. If you can do the work, that all that matters is what's on the page. A kid picking up your comic book in a comic shop isn't going to look to see if it has your age listed in the book. You
Yeah.
know, they're only interested in the page. So that was the editor being stupid.
Mm.
And it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, we had an artist on here a couple of weeks back that uh, I hadn't talked to before on video, and the guy was in his 40s, I believe. But I said, "Oh, you're an older guy that draws like a young guy," and because he brought all the fresher look to his style, and it's like, all right, so he fits right in. Or you get superstars like Mike Deodato. Um, Deodato just turned 60.
Hmm.
It's like you don't have anybody saying, okay, you're not getting work anymore because you're 60. His stuff is still fantastic. So age doesn't make a difference. It becomes another excuse that an editor uses.
Well, now those pages that we have seen is the work I'm working right now. Those are pages for Aragna.
Okay.
The the Kickstarter just ended. It raised right now is I think $33,000
Ah,
and 500 backers, something like that. And
that
the book is halfway done and working on it. This
okay.
is it will be shipped I think by the end of the year.
Excellent. Excellent.
And that's another book I'm working on right now. It's called Heroes of Homeroom C. Is the second volume. I worked on the first one like 6 years ago. Is
Oh wow.
the writer is called Anthony Rodgeiser. He's from
Okay.
Canada.
What is your work speed for doing the tight pencils? What is your work speed for doing it as inks?
Well, I haven't done pencil for 6 years, I think, or maybe 7 years now. So I don't know what would be my speed right now with pencils. With inks, I do a page a day.
Okay.
Maybe a little more. Maybe with some pages, it will take me this day and a half, something like that.
Okay.
That's one of my books.
Oh,
Uh, that
oh, that's
I'm
cool.
that one is finished. I'm trying to see how can I put a crowdfunding campaign to sell in the States. I'm now in the process of translating all the gloves.
This is very cool. I love this.
I really like to change style, not just fix on one.
Yeah, I love it when an artist steps out of his normal style and does something different. It becomes something extra special because it's something you don't expect from him.
Right.
Oh, these are
That's
very
another one of my stories. I wanted to do something different with this one. As soon as I finish the Ragnar book, I'm gonna start working on this. I want to finish it before doing a crowdfunding campaign. I have everything done
hmm,
uh, to shipping. And if you go to the pages, the actual pages, I want to do it's a 40 page book, and every single uh, page is a double page spread.
very cool. Oh, that's nice.
Wow. Yeah, that is so good.
In retrospect, I'm really glad he sent us a big portfolio.
Right?
This stuff is
That's why I said it was so good. I couldn't choose.
I know because one of the advices that people give when sending portfolios is just send 10 to 12 pages. I
and
have never followed that advice. I remember even with David, my portfolio has like 84 pages, something like that. And when I first met David, he was very intimidating because he spent like the first 10 pages not saying a word. And I just thought, oh, he doesn't like it. But after that, he thought, oh, this is great. And he went back and just saw the whole portfolio. And I think that's, to me, it's kind of a test when I show my portfolio in person. I bring a lot of pages. And if the editor see all the portfolio, it's because he's interested. He just see the first 10 and close it. I know, okay, he can tell me it's great work, but that didn't go all the way through. He doesn't care.
yeah, what I tend to recommend for my artists if they're doing a convention is to put at most 10 or 12 pages of the best stuff that you want the editor to see. And then if he wants to see more, he'll ask. But I tend not to want to overwhelm them if they don't want to see that much because sometimes they see a big hunk of it. It's like, okay, this is a big portfolio. Which pages out of this do you want me to see?
Yeah.
And that comes from so many artists these days will instead of a proper portfolio will like link you to their link you to their website or uh, link you to their
Steve,
page online.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DeviantArt. And oh my God, it's not just what they want you to see, it's every drawing they've ever done.
Mhm.
Here's the sketch I did on the back of a napkin when I was at Denny's. Uh, we, we don't need to see this stuff. In your case, were I curating your portfolio, I would do it completely different than this. If I were taking your portfolio to an editor, I would take 10, maybe 15 pages of what I thought were the best things because you have great stuff in here, but some of it is repeating the same themes or repeating the same layout where you've got a character filling the entire left side and then panels down. I don't want to show that to an editor three times. I want to show it to them once.
Mhm.
So I would be more careful about the way I did it. And so I look for different things than you might think of because I deal with all those editors. Plus, I'm an editor and publisher myself. I've been an editor since the 1980s, and I started publishing in 1988. So I've been doing it for a long time, and so I definitely look for different things than an artist thinks of from their point of view. They're looking from their point of view of giving. I want you to see all of what I'm capable of. And I'm receiving and saying, I want to see the best that you're capable of right now. I don't want to see stuff from 5, 6, 8 years ago that's not what your current stuff is like. Yeah, so I go through a whole different thought process, and so do most of those editors. So,
Yeah, that's why you do what you do, and you have a very different point of view than an artist. That's I know it's not related, but I think that's one of the problems of comics here in Colombia, that there are no editors. We don't have editors, so the artist just do whatever he wants in the page, and that way it goes to the reader. And we need a filter to fix some things, some recurring things that artists do that doesn't have the books.
oh, sure, sure. There's uh, I deal with so many editors that um, really haven't been trained as editors. They are often just the guy who has the job,
Yeah,
and that is a problem. I've worked with editors at companies that had no clue about things, who have called me to ask me what would I do with something like this, and they'll show me pages or um, I'm dealing with an editor and we've submitted something and it's okay, that's approved, and I'll say, are you sure? uh, is it possible that we might be better off for you if we did this and this and this? Oh yeah, that sounds good, do that. uh, and they really don't know. So because I've been doing this for 40 years plus, um, that uh, it's something that Glasshouse is able to bring to the table for them. So the artists that come to me and are looking for the advice of what to finesse, how to make things better, uh, so that their first impression to an editor is the best impression. Um, I'm pretty good at doing that. So uh, as we proceed, I'm very happy to help you with that, and so that we can actually do real stuff together. Uh,
would be great.
So I think that pretty well wraps this one up. I wanted to ask because I honestly didn't know. Are you married? Do you have kids? What is your life like where you live?
Well, I'm married. I don't have any kids. I live on a farm. It's a 11-acre farm.
Hmm.
Uh, my no, my life is very calm, to be honest. I live in a small town outside of Medellin. That's the biggest city close to me. and spend most of my time drawing, or if when I'm not drawing, I'm doing furniture. I do carpentry. That's my hobby, and that's what I do most of the time.
Do you you mentioned uh, to me in Messenger about New York Comic Con. Are you going this October?
Yeah, I'm going.
All right. Is that the only convention you get to, or have you been doing other shows?
I usually do New York, but I'm trying to. I beginning next year, I'm going to expand because if I do some crowdfunding campaigns, I would like to start attending some conventions with a table or at least going to Art Alley. So I'm looking maybe to Tampa or what is some conventions in Florida.
Miami has one. There's a MegaCon in
Yeah,
Orlando,
that's
which is
the one
in
I was thinking.
February, and that is 35 minutes from my house. So you got to let me know if you're coming so you can come over here.
Oh, I'm for sure I will be going this year.
All right, that is
It's in
fantastic.
February, right?
I'm sorry.
It's in February, or if I'm not mistaken, the date of the
February.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing.
February. Is it in
Yes,
February?
yes, it is in
Okay,
February.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
for sure gonna go next year.
All right. That is fantastic. I usually show up for that con one day to take my daughter to the show. We don't set up or anything, but unless something changes. Um, but in any case, I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much for coming on to show us this wonderful work today.
It's
And
my pleasure. Thank you again for
And
having me.
Carlos, I got one question for you. I'm curious. Is your farm a working farm?
No, uh, to be honest, we got this one because my wife is a YouTuber. She is actually the biggest plant influencer in Colombia. She has over 800,000 followers, and we decided to get the farm because she loves plants and just I don't know live a life of enjoying nature.
Okay, very cool. I was just curious if it was a working farm, if you had animals and stuff like
No,
that.
actually, mostly it's just wood.
Okay, very cool.
well, that is terrific. Yes. So thank you so much, Carlos. Oh, a question. Did you see the Fantastic Four movie?
Yeah, I love it. I haven't had such a fun time with a movie in a long time. I really love it. I The music has me obsessed. I have been playing the soundtrack on repeat for I don't know how many times the last week, and I love everything. I like everything. You have minor complaints about things in the story, but I love it. I truly love it.
I am glad to hear that. In fact, we're about to talk about Fantastic Four for a while. Did you want to stick around for that?
Sure, why not?
All right. So, Chris, I know you saw Fantastic Four. I got to see it when when I first heard that they were going to do what I hoped would be a great Fantastic Four movie, and we were looking at casting. I had thought Margot Robbie would make a great Sue Storm. Uh, I had even come up with a concept that I thought Fantastic Four should start in 1961. The rocket goes off, hits the cosmic rays, and then there's some sort of weird something, and they vanish. And they come back in 2026, end up crash landing in a Balkan country of Latveria, and they come out with these powers that they can't control, and the combination of their inability to control them at first and the damage really pisses off their Latvian ruler, Victor Von Doom. And then the story progresses from that. Uh, and part of the story becomes Reed Richards being the smartest man from 1961, now trying to catch up in a world of Wakandan technology and talk and Tony Stark's legacy. So that would have been my structure for it. We got something much different here, but I was surprised that it took place in the 60s. So sort of. So a 60s vibe. What did you think of that, Chris?
I absolutely loved the '60s vibe. Um, yeah, I thought it was perfect that where it took place at started out at. The only problems I had with the movie were that like the parts that they did well, they did really well.
Hmm.
Um, for my taste, I think there was a little bit too much family and not enough fantastic.
I could see that at the beginning when they gave us the snippets of action, so we could see not their origin but their earlier adventures. You know, you had snippets of the Red Ghost because of the apes
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I thought there needed to be more of that.
Yes,
I thought we went basically half the movie and never saw Reed stretch. And
exactly.
and
Yeah,
I thought that was a little odd. You don't want him stretching silly like Plastic Man, and because the comics for the most part avoided that. But yeah, I thought yeah, there wasn't enough fantastic in the fantastic part of that, especially in the beginning. Um, one of my thoughts was, why were they in such a damn hurry to get to Galactus and the Silver Surfer? Why did that have to be their first story? And Marvel for years now was trying to find in their storytelling the next big bad.
Right.
They tried to do the Kang thing, and then that fizzled out. Why the hell wasn't Galactus the next big bad? I mean, that was a really major thing that could have been coming, and now they wrap it up in one movie. They're good.
Yeah, they
yeah,
pretty much neutered that plot. So
Yeah, and the other Marvel movies. I always have my complaint about something. Uh, Endgame. We know that Doctor Strange could have cut off Thanos' arm because he had the technology. Because he did it at the beginning of the movie, cutting off an alien's arm. It's like, hey, why didn't you just do that again? But then you'd have a much shorter movie. But movies are supposed to be characters smarter than that. So I thought Marvel missed an opportunity with that.
yeah. But it is hard because most of the movies, when we have a complaint, the answer is because if they do that, there is no movie.
Yeah, but if that becomes your answer, then you
Yeah,
need then you need a new writer. So
exactly, yeah.
that because that just tells you you've got to you aren't doing your movie right because you could have written a smarter film than that.
yeah. Because, for example, in this movie, uh, not to get into spoilers, but when Reed put forward his plan, immediately oh, but that plan has tons of problems. What about this and this and this and this? Oh, they didn't address it because yeah, the plan doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, when I was in the movie with Will Conrad and with my wife, and as soon as they introduced the technology that could, put the world into a different dimension, out of phase or whatever it was they were doing, Will turns to me and says, "Why aren't they just doing that to Galactus' ship?"
Yeah,
Hmm.
And that shouldn't have been the plan B. That should have been the plan A. And the logic can't be, well, that means Galactus is still in our dimension and can't um, and we're still not rid of him and he'll still destroy planets here. No, if you can send him to another place, other side of the universe, whatever it might be, you've at least delayed the problem a few thousand years and you've got time to figure it out. So
hmm,
there was a lot that didn't make sense there. It's like, wait a minute. So you've got to get Galactus all the way into the heart of the city into this one little spot. No, destroy the ship when it's way out there. So the Silver Surfer wouldn't have had time to come in and destroy all
Exactly.
those points. So, for the world's smartest guy, Reed could be really dumb. Uh, you know, we tried to negotiate with Galactus, but he wanted too high a price. Well, what was his price? And you tell everybody
Yeah,
that you wanted your son. Why the hell would you do that? You're not the smartest guy. You're the world's biggest idiot because to everybody else, that kid is not as important to them as it is to you. To them, it's, well, you get rid of one kid to save 8 billion lives. It's like, okay, that's no contest because if he comes here and you fight him, people are going to die anyway. Like all those people that were in those buildings that Galactus is smashing as he's just walking through. There's been more than one death there,
Right.
but the
Exactly.
FF didn't care because, well, that wasn't their kid. So there's a whole problem, I thought, with the thinking there. Um, but, but, I didn't have that kind of problem back when I saw the Incredibles.
yeah,
You remember the Incredibles?
Hmm.
yeah. But the thing with
I
Incredibles,
still, which was also set in the '60s,
yeah,
basically. But The Incredibles, to me, is still the best Fantastic Four movie.
I would I would agree with that.
Yeah. Uh, so when I first heard of that they were doing this, I don't know what they did, but my first thought was, okay, if you're going to do this, approach Brad Bird and have him write and direct the Fantastic Four movie. He's already proven he can do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if that ever happened, but it was something I thought they should have done. Um,
Were either of you disappointed that they didn't at least try to work in a little bit of like Uatu and the ultimate nullifier into this?
no.
yeah.
Uh, th- th-
For me, yeah, it was.
Yeah. Uh, the ultimate nullifier to me was uh, it was a big, God from the machine, Deus Ex Machina, uh,
Yes.
because there was no real ending there. It's like, oh, go get this thing and scare them away with this iPhone. It wasn't much more complicated than that, and it really wasn't a fair ending after such a huge buildup. So to have introduced that to the story, I didn't think would have worked. And I think um, fans maybe haven't been as enamored with the Watchers in the what if stories and so forth to have brought him in. Um, uh,
I really enjoyed the Watcher. I
yeah,
really enjoyed Uatu in the what if stories.
yeah,
What are your thoughts on that, Carlos?
yes, please.
Yeah, I just think that I found it a little bit frustrating because I did believe that maybe Reed should have done something close to the Ultimate Nullifier to be, even if it was just kind of homage and it doesn't work, but it's there. I kind of believe that
Exactly.
it was needed. And the Watcher, I enjoyed it really. The best part of the What If series was the Watcher. And I think the Watcher and the Fantastic Four are really intrinsically mixed.
Yeah,
There was a way of hinting at him a little bit, even not putting in
yeah,
the center of the story, but at least know that it is there. And we have seen the Watchers in live action. Why not put them in the movie?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess in a way, I can agree with that. If you had the Watcher in there and had some version of the Ultimate Nullifier and it not working because it's such a cop out, um, might have worked fine. Um, I'm still not convinced Galactus and the Silver Surfer were the best first story to tell with them.
I would
Uh,
agree.
yeah.
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 Well, to me,
It,
it was a very big missed opportunity that the Phase 4 of the Marvel Universe was not about the Fantastic Four.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That said, I thought this was a pretty damn good version of Galactus.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent.
you
Much
know,
better than the vague cloud.
Cloud. And I never got the Cloud in the that Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, um, because one would have thought, at least for merchandising purposes, for all the fans of anime, a giant you know Galactus robot would have been something that would have been a selling point for the movie and for the merchandising department. And
yeah, but I,
now,
I
I see people complaining that the problem with this Galactus is that very underpowered. Yes, because if you do Galactus with all his powers, he's undefeated. That's the point of the Ultimate Nullifier. You cannot defeat Galactus.
yeah,
You have
right.
to
Yeah.
underpower him to somehow defeat him in any way possible.
yeah.
It
I find it interesting when people are complaining that characters aren't powerful enough
Yeah,
when they have superpowers. It was interesting to see limits. Galactus grabbing Reed, stretching him out like that, and that's probably still 150 feet. And people I saw online complaining, well, in the comic book, he can completely wrap his body around Galactus. Well, yeah, you can do that in the comic book because it's unlimited, whatever. But there reaches a point where how much is too much if Reed were a real person?
right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
And
so yeah. Go
I,
ahead.
I I have to wonder when you bring up the rise of the Silver Surfer and the Cloud Galactus. I think it always comes down to money, and I'm
yeah.
wondering if it just came down to money and they didn't have the budget to render out a full on Galactus, so they just went, we're just gonna make him a cloud.
Yeah, it's
No, I,
possible.
I do think that back then it was just they thought it was gonna be silly to put a big guy in a costume.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. And okay, so here's another bone I have to pick with the movie.
Yeah.
Who were either of you disappointed with Ben's voice? Like I wanted the "it's clobbering time," and
You
he
you
was
you
so
want to.
soft spoken and just
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah. That I had two feelings about Ben Grimm. The first was when I saw the classic 1960s ridge on that face, it was like, yes, he looks like the thing. And then when I heard his voice, it was like, who's that?
yeah,
yeah. He was almost he was like the wise uncle instead of the thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted the body. It's clobbering time.
Yeah. I could have gone with a deeper voice. I understood they wanted to keep the actor with it, but I would have liked something a little deeper and more gravelly because that's what you come to expect out of that body and what you've come to expect out of what you've seen in all the FF cartoons and whatever. It's like I didn't think that the actor who did it in those two earlier Fantastic Four movies quite got it because he just didn't have the natural voice
yeah,
to be gravelly that in that way. But yeah, I expected something more of it.
But
yeah.
at least oh, go ahead, Carlos.
I also think that the voice was missing. Also for me, I have kind of a couple of nitpicking things about it. Is to me Ben needs to be a little bit more torturous soul than he was. He needs to his course with a rock body, and I know he has been done, but I miss that seeing him a little bit more bummed because he was not a normal person. To me,
Yeah,
the best part of the other movies was the scene where the Ben's fiance puts the ring on the floor, and Ben can't pick the ring because of his fingers too thick to get it. And the other thing is stupid, but I don't know. For me, it was. I don't see why they put it the bear. I
Oh,
know
the
that
beard.
it has been done in the comic, but why? Why?
it was kind of dumb, but you know, it was something we didn't expect. It was something we didn't see in any of the FF movies before.
Right.
So I understand why they did it. Um, I was looking for at least a little bit of the jokes and bickering with Ben and
Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah,
It didn't have to be as sophomoric as we saw it sometimes, or as damaging to their living quarters as we sometimes saw it in the comics. But a little bit of that. It's like I know it was all about family, but nobody's family gets is that well oiled the machine. There's some argument or bickering at some point. Now,
yeah.
to your point about picking up the ring and things like that, um, yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little bit of the tortured soul because you know, because Reed hadn't managed to turn him back. He seemed to have been at this long enough that he was very accepting of
Yeah.
his current situation. And again, that didn't seem like first movie stuff to me.
The other thing, because we miss all the character arc of the characters. They
Yeah,
are just fixed all the whole movie into one position.
yeah. And, you know, eh, first movie, it would have been nice to seeing him wrestle a little bit with being such big, so unable to pick up the ring, as you say. And then by the time you get to the next movie, he's learned how. We see the tricks that he uses to do stuff. Much like a woman with long fingernails might have trouble typing at first. Once she's had them for a while, she types fine. She figures out how to pick up things differently. I
Hmm.
would have
And
expected,
you
like,
see a little bit of that when he's handling the cookies.
yeah, it just seemed like it was there was too little of it.
Yeah.
And as you say, we missed the arc
I
of
don't know.
that
People
stuff.
say that people are tired of origin stories, but I think we need the origin stories when there is a new vision of a character.
For you think we need origin stories for all the movies?
No, if you restart a character, I think so. Some version because that's gonna change something fundamental of the character. I think
Well,
that's
we
I don't know.
did sort of get the origin by way of the TV show host
Yeah,
that
Hmm.
was telling their stuff.
Yeah.
It's just because we're dropped into them already being heroes for so long, we miss that arc of growth and change with those characters that we saw in the decades of the comics. We miss all that. And
yeah,
if you don't tell it now, you're not going to get a chance to tell it later because they'll have been the characters even longer.
Right. Unless
So
they do like a prequel or something, but
yeah,
sad. But I
yeah,
think that's kind of the issue in part for those two movies that came out, Superman and Fantasy Four. The Fantasy Four in those 4 years they have been fantastic. They have grown too much, and for Superman in the 3 years that have been Superman, he hasn't grown enough.
yeah.
I can agree with that.
In
Yeah.
a way, yeah, the Superman movie. In a way, it was like we were still dealing with Superboy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The young adventures of Superman. Um, Casting Pedro Pascal.
That
he was
stuck in a lot of
fine.
people's craw. Um, I,
Whatever
I,
you say about him, he's a good actor. Actor.
he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
I don't
I,
know if he was Reed enough for me.
yeah, yeah.
he was too mopey.
Yeah, I have liked him in everything I've seen him in. As far back as when he was a vampire in an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Uh, I've liked him in everything I've seen him in, except the villain in the second Wonder Woman movie,
Oh yeah, no, that was over.
where he was just chewing the scenery way too much. They made that movie too camp, and it's like, okay, he's a better actor than that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to cast him in everything. It's like, the guy that I'm blanking on the actor's name who actually played Reed Richards in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Krasinski.
yeah. Uh, he would have been fine. Hell, they
Yeah,
could have. I know that uh, uh, um, the actor who played Chuck in that TV series.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, he's slim, 6'4". He could have played Reed Richards if he just downplays the silliness. And we know he can play serious because he played a very serious doctor for in a bunch of episodes of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
yeah.
So he can play stuff that's not comedy. Um, so I thought he might have made a better choice. It's like, okay, Pedro Pascal may not have been a terrible choice because he's a heck of a good actor, but uh, he doesn't come off as tall and slim and what you expect Reed Richards to be.
Exactly.
It was
Yeah.
like a casting against type kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the same way that casting, the Thing's voice was against what you had expected. So it was,
I do have to say something to that point. I have heard that one of the reasons that they did the casting that way is because since Pedro Pascal is Latin American, that will bring a little bit of diversity.
mm,
There is something that I'm gonna sound very awful right now. You Americans have to understand that we Latin America don't care about representation. We don't care about seeing ourselves in movies because you think about Latin America as one thing, and most of the countries in Latin America just fight among each other. You see that Colombia doesn't get along with Peru or with Argentina or with Uruguay, and when you see someone, we don't think, oh, that is a Latin American in the screen. No, that's Chilean. It doesn't have anything to do with me. So when you try to do representation, you fail. Most people think about Latin America, oh, they eat tacos and this and this. In Colombia, never eat tacos. That's something that happened in Mexico, nothing else. So we, as Latin American, it's going to be impossible to represent us because we are not a culture. Each country has different culture. In Colombia, we fight with the people from different states, from different cities. We mock. There is even a city in Colombia that's called Pasto. Everyone mocks people from Pasto. So there
oh
is no
wow.
way to find representation in Latin America.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, so casting of Sue Storm.
I I thought that was dead on.
See,
I liked Vanessa Kirby. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic.
love
Yeah,
her
for
last
me,
name.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
for me, none of the castings will be my first choice, but after seeing the movie, I will say they did not good. I will not stretch it to see the great, but they did the job they had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. None of it was bad because they all performed it well.
Yeah,
They, I thought Vanessa Kirby didn't look the part to me. I don't know. For some reason, she looked haggard and tired,
yeah.
like she already had 4 kids and was just exhausted for the whole damn movie.
That that's exactly what I thought about her. She looks, I don't know, she looks older than she is. Like you
Yeah,
say, she
yeah,
already has 4 kids, and
yeah.
yeah,
It's like, okay, maybe I wasn't that familiar with the actress. Maybe 10 years ago, I don't know. That's why I said when I first heard about it, I thought Margot Robbie because if you look at the mid '60s Jack Kirby Fantastic Fours, And it's like, okay, that's kind of what she looks like.
Right.
Um, but I wouldn't have gone that way. Um, Johnny, every time they cast Johnny, I think he looks too old because I think back, okay, Johnny should have been 16 when he went up and should maybe be 19, and that actor seemed older than that. Um, but in any case, oh, I got a Johnny Storm question for you. When did he become an expert in linguistics? Not just linguistics, but cosmic linguistics.
That's something that happened in the movie that, for instance, I thought that would be the perfect way to put the Watcher in there, that he will help him with the messages from space. And the other thing, for they say that they were the first people that went to space and they never went back. But for some reason, they knew about of space. They knew about the planets. They knew more than they show in the movie.
Yeah. So there's some of that didn't make sense to me at all. Now, if they had done a scene earlier in the movie, yeah, passing by crowds, and there were girls in the crowd wanting his autograph, and one of them's French, one of them's Spanish, whatever it might be, and he's answering in other languages as a hint that okay, languages come easy to him.
Yeah, that would be
Then
great.
that would have been something. It would have been new to the movies, but it would have added a nice little layer, a texture there that he's taken the time because the Fantastic Four is so international, in fact, so cosmic that he's taken the time to learn other languages because it helps him communicate to their fans, if nothing else.
See, now I think maybe I'm the only one who thought this. I think he got the language skills from when he chased after Shalabal and she touched him, and he's like, she spoke to me, and I think she passed something on to him that kind of woke
Yeah,
that up.
it's. I guess that's what maybe they were going through.
Maybe they also will showing that the Fantastic Four were the Fantastic Four for a reason. They are not those their power. They are very smart because there is the problem with the Fantastic Four always. I got the best of the best to go to space. My wife, my best friend, and
Just so happens.
yeah,
Yeah. Coincidentally, yes, and I get all that. It's like I think Fantastic Four was also one of the shorter Marvel movies.
yeah,
Uh, uh, I think it would have benefited being 10 to 12 minutes longer. You could have laid in additional stuff at the beginning, showing them using their powers. As I understood it, there was a whole sequence with John Malkovich or somebody as the Red Ghost that they shot but ended up not using, which is why you have the bits with the apes in there.
Wow.
So maybe that was something that needed to be there, and maybe more things could have been put in that would have shown them being more fantastic, or would have laid in reasons for Johnny, or have been those moments of sadness with Ben, or who knows. But that extra 10 to 12 minutes, I think, would have been beneficial for this film.
Right. Though I do have to say, I absolutely love the portrayal of the Mole Man and his fascination with Sue. He's like, well, if Sue wants it, yeah, we'll do it.
uh, I, I liked that. I just didn't like. Uh, I just didn't like the mole man portrayed as just
okay,
another geek that goes to comic shops kind of guy. You expected him to be more mole manish
yeah.
than that. and it's like we didn't get any of that. He was too normal. You know,
Yeah, he was just a guy.
the mole man character in The Incredibles was a better mole man than this was. I thought, but I get where you're coming from. I just I thought it needed more, but overall, everything said here, I still think out of uh, the Fantastic Four movies done so far, this was the best one.
Yeah, and at least they didn't hit us over the head with Doom. I mean, like, the missing, the empty Latvian chair at the council,
Yeah,
and the end credits. I think that was kind of perfect.
yeah, I think that works, and I'm looking forward to their next appearance. I hope they get to wear their classic costume at some point. It was in one little shot where they had their
Yeah,
classic suits, and then they had these ones that look like pajamas that I didn't quite get with the ribbing pattern. But um, when I saw the previous three Fantastic Four movies done by other companies, I kept going back to the script in the unreleased Roger Corman Fantastic Four was better than these. Um, but this is the first movie where I didn't say that. This at least was uh, I thought really solid and better than some of these Marvel movies that we've gotten over the past few years um, since Endgame was over.
Completely agree.
Yeah. All right. I think that kind of wraps us up for this week.
All
So,
right.
Carlos, we're going to say our goodbyes here. Thank you so much for being a part of all this.
again, thank you for having me, and looking forward to talking more to you. And hey, great to meet you, Chris.
Yes, very nice to meet you, Carlos. All right.
Thank
That
you.
has been it for this episode. So please remember to like, subscribe, and share to our channel as well. That helps us out a lot. And y'all have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Bye.
Bye.